Hey, good morning, everyone. And nice to have you being in this conference today. And I'm Jamie from南投County, and my school name is 魚池Junior High School. And so I will introduce a lot of things and try to control in 15 minutes. Okay? And this is the outline of today. We have school background and activities in my school. Then go through to the inquiry project and the class lessons in my school, and also my reflection of the whole year project. Okay. And for our school background, I have 4 parts of it. It's our school and the class, and the reason I want to apply for this project, and also the teacher difficulties I face during this club project. Okay, and do you know where is南投County? Have you ever been there? Yes. Okay, I show you the map, and you will be very familiar with this Taiwan map. And our school is in the middle part of Taiwan, and we are nearby Sunwon Lake. Yeah, it's quite famous in南投, and this is the school, 鱼池国中. Yeah. And in my school, it's okay. I have, because we are junior high school, we have 7 to 9 grade students, and each class at least 20 to 24 students, and we have 4 classes for English per week, also 45 minutes for 1 period. And this is I have 7 and 8th grade students. And this is my class lesson students. They are 8th grade students. And the right one is my 7th grade students. And we had a lesson when Kailey came to our class. Even they didn't have the class lesson before, we have a special lesson for them. And the total number is 20 students for this project. And for the students, because I have been taught in Junior High School for 1 year, and I found out our students there, they lack sufficient ability in English speaking and listening. Also, they don't think that English is necessary in just like any school. And also, some of their families, they are taken care of by their grandparents, or single mother, single father. So they cannot have much support after school. So English might not be the most important thing in the rural area. So that's why I want to apply for this project. I can bring a real English foreigners to the classroom without going abroad. So technology is very important with this project. We should have an internet, have computer, and also a stable internet, so that the teacher won't be shown at all out. Yeah, it's very important to have the internet in the school. And for teacher, because in a small school, the teacher should be cover a lot of things like teaching, administrative work. So in this project, I can force myself to design classes, to design teaching activities for students. Also, when I teach English in English, we need some scaffolding skills. Also, we have to learn how to symbolize our sentences to have our students understand. So I will show you some techniques I use in my school. And the activities in my class, this project May this year, and we begin this from May and June with our first and second class lesson in Taiwan, and then in July and August we went to some program in WW for 2 months training, and then we back to Taiwan with our second stage from September to December now. So this is the whole project, how we go from the first. And we have the training. It's very important because we went to the US and we have a class. We have very rich classes for learning English. So when we went back, it's very different from the first stage because we learned a lot there, and and we can use a lot of activities in our school. And these are the topics we have in our school. We have introduction and the summer activities in Bellingham. And also we talk about traveling, talk about food, and the weather and festivals. And as for our class, we have the lesson planned before the class. I believe every teacher here, we did this once in 2 weeks. And we write down a lot of things. And our class will begin with warm-up, main activity, and then we have break-up classes, and we have reflection of each class lesson. And I will show you some lesson plan I have for you. This is our lesson plan from the introduction. Every time we finish our lesson plan, we have to do a summary for the class and also the reflection. And then it's the lesson plan, how we did this class. So we can just write it down and we can share this with other club partners or other Taiwanese teacher, and we can share our ideas with each other. And so for this part, I will also share here if any teacher want to use, and you can get this. Also any resources. So this is what we did with each class lesson. We are not just think of something and just make it. We have to discuss a lot of times. So thanks, co-partners. Also, for our, just I have mentioned the class activity I have used in my class. We have card sorting and mind mapping, also the 10 seconds objects and gallery walk. These are what we learned in WW, and for this activity, card sorting is good for warm-up activity, and we can begin from matching before we teach students. And for the second one, mind mapping, I use this to introduce Taiwanese night market food to Kailey. And students made this by themselves. And I give them some words and pictures so they can just design the poster by themselves. And also for the 10-second objects, also good for vocabulary activity. We can have students just add the vocabulary in 10 seconds. So it's quite amazing. Each group have different gesture. And also the last one is gallery walk. We talk about American states. It's also very difficult for students because the state's name is very long. It's hard for them to remember. So we show a lot of pictures, and also I give them some a paper. I write down Chinese and English name. So when they do a gallery walk, they can say, "Oh, what did you see in the picture?" I show you the dictionary. Just look up it. And it's also good for them to have an understanding of the United States first, and then Kailey will introduce the. I will show you some pictures about Kailey and me and Sylvia we did in this week. We went biking at Summer Lake, and also the night market, and go to a karate class in our school. This is our principal, and we exchange the gifts. Because some black tea is very famous in our school, we also have the class for black tea. So Kailey also joined our black tea lessons during this time. And this is the 7th grade students. The first time we use our introduction class in this. It used to be the first class in our club lesson, but we just want to have 7th grade students to have a first meet with Kailey, so we just can use that in another class. Also, we did a snowflakes. We cut it together, and we eat lunch together. And this is one of our students' father. He is the factory of black tea, and we went there to have a test of black tea. this is what we did in this week. We did a lot of things. So every co-partner is very tired now because they have a whole week activities.
And then it goes to my reflection.
So after this project, I think students' motivation really get higher because we create a learning target for them in a classroom. When they have the target to use English in a classroom, they have to use. So Kailey become a target that the same as motivation high. Because of her, so our students' motivation get higher. And then for Jamie, I think just the same. But because after her come to our school, student always forget Jamie. Just remember, Kailey, where's the Kailey teacher? And then for teachers' self-improvement, we did improve ourselves a lot in this cloud project. This is why I also recommend everyone can join this project with us. And the most important one is we should design a class based on the fun activities, and students can learn English very happy. So this is the end of my presentation. Thanks for your listening.
Thank you, Jamie. And now let's welcome Sylvia.
Hi everyone, my name is Sylvia. Yes. Our team topic is teaching English in English. I applied for this project because I think it is important, so it's time to take actions teaching English in English. Okay, I outlined my presentation into 5 parts. Background of my school, activities in my class, my inquiry project, my crowd lesson, and my reflection for this project. I'm teaching at Tongfu Junior High School in Nantou, Xinyi County. It is an indigenous school in a mountainous area. 70 of my students are Bunun. Here's the pictures. And it is in a very remote area, but it is very beautiful. So I put photos of all seasons in my school, so you can see the summit of the highest mountain, Mount Jade, from my school. And you also can see the plum blossom and cherry blossom in winter. So it's very beautiful. Okay, about my students for the lesson. My student is grade A student, 3 males and 15 females. And people know, especially Taiwanese know, Bunun, indigenous people are really good at sport and singing. So most of my students are members of school teams. 7 of them are in the choir team, and 5 of them are in the judo team. There is no Korean school near my school, so most of my students learn English only at school. They are active and eager to learn, even they don't have much confidence, but they're really excited for this project. Okay, about my activities in my class. After I finished the teacher training project in WW. I stayed another 3 days for Kailey in Seattle, and thanks for her showing me around and taking me to a lot of places in Seattle. So before I came back, I started to think of what can I introduce my students about Washington State. So finally, I decided to buy 15 different postcards to introduce my students what are famous in Washington State. And thanks for Kailey to help me send all these postcards from Seattle. Yes, so that feeling is very different. And she also wrote something for every student. So students, when they got the postcard, most of them are very excited. And most of them told me that's their first postcard from another country. Yeah, so the first class I just use a postcard because it's a lot of pictures, and I use comprehensible input questions. So they just answer yes, no, either or, and then WH questions. So it's easy for them, so it's fun. And another activity in my class is about famous food in America and Taiwan. And this video, I think most club partners, teachers have seen this one. It is fun, and I remember when we recorded this video in America in Kelly's house. So Jamie, Kelly, and I actually prepare all this food, about 8 dishes, until 8 p.m. and then had dinner together. So I won't forget this one. And it is really fun. And when my students watched this video, they kept laughing and curious about what I'm talking about in the video. It is funny. So they kept laughing. But at that time, they haven't learned the grammar pattern. How does it taste? But they knew the meaning of how does it taste from this video. So I think students love authentic video, especially the teachers are in the video. Yeah, okay. Another activity is gallery work. The topic is holidays in America. I made students to decorate their Halloween house, and then they take turns to go to another group to share their works and share their idea why they decorate their house like that. So students have more opportunity to share, speak, and listen to other students. When they listen to the speaker, they needed to ask questions. Okay, so about my teacher inquiry. I want to offer more listening and speaking English opportunities for my students in the class and outside the classroom. The situation is that they have few learning resources outside the classroom because there's no cram school, and most of them don't have computers at home. But before I do that, I also think it's important to increase their quantity of vocabulary. So first of all, I introduced them a digital tool called Quizlet. Yeah, I think some teachers has already used this one, and there are lots of flashcards with pronunciation, and students can practice matching games and testing spelling, and another game I forgot the name, space race games. Yeah. I think this is very good app. Not only help the student in the crown lesson, and also help some students with very lower achievers, and they can memorize more vocabulary from this app. And in class, I also provide them more opportunity to speak and listen. So a lot of pair work. And I try to use almost 100% English to teach them. Actually, this is not easy for my student, but I just force myself to use, and they have to get used to 100% English. But I think they all did very well. And I ask them to, when they ask and answer questions, also use English. And another online app I introduced them called Flipgrid. This is a very good app for students to practice their speaking, because students need to record the video by themselves, like this. They have to sit in front of the computer and record. I give them a question, a topic, and then record at home or at school. And it is some students practice many times, so I think it's really good for them to practice speaking. Some pros and cons. And I think the disadvantage is they more concentrate on what they appeared on the video rather than their response to the questions. But they can practice many times. Like, oh, they look not good, so again. Okay, I made a questionnaire for them, so I won't show them. So I just tell the result. I think most of them think they have improved their listening, and I give them more opportunity, and they like me to use whole English to teach in class. And surprisingly, I think 93% are get used to my new teaching style. Okay, my crowd lesson, time's up. Okay, on my crowd lesson, this is the first class I use bingo game because it's easy for ice breaking. And at that time, they just learned past tense, so they can practice past tense by the pictures, by the bingo game. And for the listening part, Kailey tried to speak English and make them practice listening without any pictures. So students listen for 3 times. The first time they felt very difficult and they couldn't write many things on the paper. And the second time they write down a little bit. The third time I used the Venn diagram to help them. So this is Kailey's part, my part, the same part. And for the first time, I think about 60% can understand what the Kailey talking about. So it's a good way to help them. And about the foods in America and Taiwan. Okay, the American one is the video, and Chinese one, I made students to introduce one famous night market food to Kailey. So everyone need to introduce 1 or 2 foods in Taiwan. And when Kailey came here, they went to the night market with them. Actually, we drove 14 minutes to the night market. So everyone was very excited, but even it's very tired, but very excited. And when we were in the night market, they also used English to introduce Kailey what's their favorite food. So that's a good, I think they performed very well. And another one, have mentioned this before. Okay, so the latest one I want to, before Kailey come to my school, I asked my students to make a picture book. They work in pairs and introduce famous places in Nantou. I brought some of their works there, so if you have time, please take a look. I was really amazed how they can do so beautiful picture book. And when they introduced their picture book, even they were so nervous. But I think most of them also did very good job. Okay, this is the first time Kailey said it's so beautiful. The first time students meet Kailey, I was surprised they are not shy at all. And ice-breaking game. So the first time, almost every student has conversation with Kailey, so that's good. They introduced their picture book. And Kailey had Christmas lesson and baking lesson. Because Kailey is really good at making cheesecake. So most of my colleagues are really like the cheesecake. It tastes different from Taiwanese style. Okay, the night market. Yeah, about 10 people in a car. Actually, it's illegal, but it's not convenient for them to. Yeah, so they are really excited. And I'm very happy my colleagues also have very good interaction with Kailey. They all show their hospitality. And Kailey also joined my school team, judo team. They had a very good time. And my reflection, actually in the beginning, I really afraid Professor Chola may not accept me in the beginning. So I told her, I have applied for this project many times. Please? No, I didn't say please, but I mean that please accept me. It's really a good project. I really want to enjoy it. And I used to be shy, and I don't have confidence to tell other people I'm an English teacher. And this is really good. I think, I never thought I can go to America and make so many American friends and Taiwanese friends. Yeah, and it's really good. I don't know how to describe it yet. And thank you for this project to give my students a lot of special experience and also get my self-improvement. Thanks a lot.
Okay, it's on. Alrighty, hello everyone. My name is Kailey. I was partners, of course, with Jamie and Sylvia. So for this presentation, I will be having my reflection of the CLARK project as a whole, focusing again on their Just Do It theme with having to teach in English and how that meshed in with our cloud lessons as we evolved throughout this time together. So before the summer workshops, when we had our first cloud lesson meeting in May, actually for this project, it's kind of similar to Daniel. It wasn't something that I was originally planning on doing. It was something that Chiron, our leader over in WW, had come to me and asked me specifically to do. I was a little bit hesitant because I didn't know if it would fit within my schedule or not, but I'm very, very glad that I did, because it's been such an enriching experience. But because it wasn't something that I was planning on, I had never taught online before, so the idea made me a little bit, how does this work? So I was very nervous at first, but despite the nerves, it was really fun getting to know Jamie and Sylvia as well as our students. But I noticed for the first couple of cloud lessons that we had together, it was really hard trying to have the students be able to understand. It almost seemed as though Sylvia and Jamie needed to be kind of the medium translator. As soon as I said something, the students would turn and look and want a translation. And then if they wanted to say something back, then they would say something in Chinese to them and then want them to translate for me instead of trying to use English, because they were so nervous, I think, at first. But despite their nervousness, they really did want to participate. So it was still a really good time for the first couple of lessons. But after we did the summer workshops, we applied Just Do It thing of teaching English in English. It was something that both Sylvia and Jamie were very interested in trying after having the workshops in WW, even though it's a little bit hard, as they mentioned, to throw students into such a new experience of having English being the medium language instead of Chinese. But after they started doing this, I was surprised by how much more the students were able to understand my lessons. They weren't needing to immediately turn to Sylvia and Jamie all the time for a translation. Or even if they did need one, if they didn't quite understand, what these two decided to do instead of using Chinese was to repeat what I said in English, because they were more used to hearing them speak than me. And that actually worked really well. So no translating anymore, and they had a whole lot more confidence. They were more interested. That same excitement that they had at the first two lessons continued on with these ones. And with more confidence, they were more willing to try and speak to me in English instead of immediately turning to them. So I was very, very excited and very surprised by such an immediate change within our lessons. When I arrived in Taiwan, though, I was nervous doing the transition between being online and then having it be in person. And it was a bit of a mixed bag of the reactions that I got with Jamie's school. I think the students were very, very nervous, so they almost tried to retreat back to the very first time with their lessons and wanting just translations because they were just too nervous. But they were able to overcome this over time with our lessons, with also the help of some candy too, as a reward. They were able to participate a little bit more and be willing to come and speak with me a little bit more. I was shocked too that they were willing to talk to me even outside of class too. In Jamie's class, it wasn't quite as prevalent as with Sylvia's that I'll mention later, but they will sometimes come into Jamie's office to do something. I was even shocked that sometimes that they'll come in just to make coffee, practice making coffee. And while they do that, they would try and say, not a whole lot, but a little bit of sentences to have some kind of a communication as they were doing whatever else that they were needing to be doing in the office. For Sylvia's school, it was very different. I was surprised that they weren't nervous at all. They were very excited to have me come. And there was consequently lots and lots of participation, both in class and outside of class. I was surprised by how much that they wanted to spend time with me, that they would come into Sylvia's office and take me out of the office and have me explore their, because the school is right nearby their home village. So they took me up to have me look around some of their homes. And for the first, it didn't quite work with Jamie because I can speak and understand a little bit of Chinese. For Sylvia's school, we decided to try and have it be a secret for at least until after our English class was done. So when they were taking me to see their home village, it was very funny as they were trying to, as they were talking amongst themselves, like, oh, how do you translate that? How do you say this? How do you say that? But because I had said that I really don't understand anything at all, they put so much effort into make me be able to understand, and I was surprised by how well like even in class, it didn't quite, it didn't do their English justice in class. When they were outside of the classroom and introducing things they were really passionate about, their English was just, I was surprised. So that was very, very fun, and then also getting to experience other outings like the night market that Sylvia mentioned. So the overall experience of this was absolutely wonderful. Being able to watch the students improve so much. This is the first project that that's been in such a long consecutive thing where I've had the same students for months and months. So it's been, as I said, enriching to be able to see just how much the students are able to improve. And the level of kindness, as Daniel mentioned before, the level of kindness that everybody has shown us with, of course, my club partners, Sylvia and Jamie, but with the whole project as a whole too, with all the cloud partners, both from Taiwan and WW, we have formed a very strong community, especially over those summer workshops, and we've kind of progressed on from there. And the students being willing to take the time out of their days to learn English with me and find extra opportunities to be able to do that. With the schools, with the staff there, I was surprised that they knew who I was coming in and were willing to take the time to come and talk to me during their own time whenever they didn't have classes to do. Yeah, so it was a really, really, really lovely experience. So thank you very, very much.